Hello, brother.
Hello.
In light of our recent failure to make any progress concerning the issues of controversy in our midst, I thought it might be useful if we both made some promises to each other, promises of changes in behavior that will yield more fruitful dialogue.
Very well. You go first.
Okay, I promise to be a better listener.
And I promise to be a better communicator.
I promise not to confuse you with postmodern terminology that you don't think is important to learn because it was never used by Saint Cleophas the blind monk of Tripoli.
And I promise not to confuse you with Lutheran terminology that you didn't learn at the seminary because you were too busy changing your religious views on Facebook to discipled follower of the way.
I promise to stop skipping circuit meetings because I'm too smart to learn anything from you.
And I promise to stop skipping circuit meetings because you're too stupid to learn anything from me.
I promise not to tell anyone that you think people who just want their church to do something more than Sunday morning worship are really means of grace-denying crypto-metho-bapto heathens.
And I promise to stop making fun of you for calling everyone at your church a minister. Like Jenny, your minister of very adorable and delicious animal-themed cupcakes.
I promise not to roll my eyes when you tell people that an 80-year-old woman bludgeoning an organ keyboard with her sausage fingers is somehow more reverent than a faithful Christian guitarist making a joyful noise to the Lord on his instrument.
And I promise not to laugh when you say that contemporary worship may not be right for my context, but that it is right for yours, when your church is half a mile down the road from mine, and serves the same community of upper-middle-class Republican honkies.
I promise to stop reminding myself that you think there is no difference between taking the individual cup at communion and blowing your nose in the flagon.
And I promise not to hit you in the face with your copy of Kristen Lynn's greatest hits when you paraphrase the words of institution.
I promise not to point out that the only thing your kids can remember from VBS is getting yelled at by the pastor for not learning all 17 verses of the forgotten Reformation hymn. Great is our God in times of most grievous afflictions and pestilent bodily sores.
And I promise not to point out that the only thing your kids remember from VBS is that Jesus lives in the jungle on a giant pirate ship made out of macaroni and Play-Doh.
I promise to stop intimating that the reason your church is shrinking is because you conduct the liturgy like Pope Frankenstein III.
And I promise to stop intimating that the reason your church is shrinking is because you walk around the chancel dressed like you've been swallowed and vomited back up by an Abercrombie & Fitch catalogue.
I think we've made some real progress today.
Agreed.
Up top,